गुड आफ्टरनून, नमस्ते, गुड आफ्टरनून, ओम शांति। क्या बात है, कोई जवाब ही नहीं देता। क्या हुआ? इतनी अच्छी सी तालियां बजाई हैं। When we come together like this to appreciate of achievements, it's not just an appreciation, it's also our creation of blessings for each one. Blessings which does not just strengthen them in what they are doing, but also strengthens each one in who they are. We call ourselves human beings. ये दो शब्द हैं, human and being. So human refers to the body. So the word human comes from humus, which means ये शरीर मिट्टी से बना है, मिट्टी में खत्म हो जाएगा. And the second word is being, which is the energy, which is the master of this body, which is using this body to do everything that we do. And that being is energy. That's eternal. It never dies. We call it by different words. We call it consciousness, we call it spirit, we call it soul, we call it light, we call it power. In Hindi, we call it Atma. So when it's two words, we really need to understand the meaning of who we are. When we say, I am a woman, or we say, I am a man, it's actually incorrect. It's incorrect. Because I am not the man or the woman. I am the energy wearing the costume of a man or a woman. अब ये लगता है बात तो एक ही है, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? ये बात एक नहीं है, ये बात completely different है. It's like we're wearing different costumes today. Someone's wearing a sari, someone's wearing a suit, someone is wearing trousers. It's just a costume. The personality is not based on the costume we wear. Similarly, male or female is just this costume. Just a costume. And our sanskars and our nature and our personality is not based on which costume we wear. But once a soul enters the costume, which is a girl, and a baby is born, and another place the soul enters the costume of a boy, and a baby boy is born. And from there the conditioning starts. And so what we've been hearing this morning, that these are habits which can be learnt, which means this is not our innate personality. These are habits that we can learn. A soul is eternal and it never dies. And so when a soul leaves a costume, it enters the womb of another costume, mother, and a baby is born. So the truth is that each one of us sitting here has been in a male costume and has also been in a female costume. Let that sink in. Each one of us has played the role of being a man in some lifetime and has also played the role of being a woman. So man or woman is just a role. It's not who I am. But like professional roles require certain personality traits. So if someone's becoming a doctor, so we will say doctor needs to be compassionate, doctor needs to be caring. So the sanskar is for the role. Similarly, if we go a few hundred years back, man and woman was a role. Man was the provider of the family, and woman was the nurturer of the family. So based on that role of being a provider or a nurturer, right from childhood, that sanskar was ingrained in that individual. But over a period of time, it created a feeling as if the provider was superior to the nurturer. Because it felt as if the provider was running the house. So the provider was the superior to the nurturer. It was not man superior to woman. It was the role of a provider being considered as superior to the role of a nurturer. दो बातों में बहुत फर्क है, बहुत फर्क है. The soul has all the sanskars. So we cannot say woman is caring, woman is compassionate. Each one of us has met so many men who are very caring, very compassionate. We cannot say man is logical, man is analytical. We have so many women who are that, because the soul has all the sanskars of being caring, of being compassionate, of being logical, of being analytical, or any sanskar you think of. But depending on the role we play, we immerse those sanskars into our karam. So if you tell a child right from kindergarten, you are a girl, so you are caring. So you are caring. So you are caring. You will trigger that sanskar of caring in her to emerge into activity. But now the need of the hour, whether I am playing the role of a woman or playing the role of a man, it's important to emerge all our powerful sanskars. So it's not that the woman needs empowerment. We may need empowerment in the doing, in what I do, not in who I am. Not in who I am. Two completely different things. We can need empowerment, we can need help, we can need support, only because for hundreds of years the role of being a provider or doing was not there. But when it comes to the being, no one is inferior or superior to the other. So one, we need to stop feeling that and saying that repeatedly. Anything we say repeatedly, it starts becoming a reality. So बड़े ध्यान से सोचना चाहिए और ध्यान से बोलना चाहिए. We keep saying it repeatedly. So we have to be very careful. And second, when it comes to empowerment of the individual, then it doesn't matter which role I'm playing, which profession I am in, or whatever I'm doing, because it's just not the doing which needs the empowerment, it is the being which needs the empowerment. So when we use words like stress, depression, anxiety, it's nothing to do whether I'm wearing the costume of man or woman. It's nothing to do with which role I'm playing, which profession I am in. Stress is there even in children today of 5 years age. 5-6 साल के बच्चे बोलते हैं हमें बड़ा stress है. What does that have to do with which gender they are or which role they are playing? It is just that the being is not being emotionally energized. Why the woman plays a very, very important role in society is because she has the power to nurture the sanskars in the child when the child is in the womb of the mother. So that is where an amazing power is there on society. Both parents play an equal role in nurturing the child, but that 9-month period is where the mind of the woman impacts the child the most. And so as will be the sanskars of the woman, the mother, so will be the sanskars of the child predominantly, which is called the Garabh Sanskar, which we know in spirituality since thousands of years in Bharat. The West today is calling it womb psychology or prenatal, perinatal psychology. That what an individual will be 20 years from today, 40 years from today in terms of who they are, the seed of it is sown in those 9 months. So in those 9 months, if the mother is going through her normal, so-called normal stresses and anxiety, then the child is born absorbing those emotions and creating those sanskars. And then now we have children who are high IQ, but EQ needs to be strengthened, and doesn't matter whether they are girl or boy. It has absolutely nothing to do with the gender of their costume. So when it comes to the word stress, it's given by a simple formula. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. Pressures are the situations of our life. Pressures are the targets of what I do. But stress is not equal to pressure. We say, I have so much to do, so I am stressed. I'm not stressed because of what I have to do. And pressures will only increase in the coming times. So we need to get the formula right. Stress is not equal to pressure. It is pressure divided by resilience. And resilience means the inner power to cope with the pressure. Again, nothing to do with the gender of the costume I'm wearing. Absolutely nothing to do with the gender of the costume that I'm wearing. But because a woman, right from childhood, is conditioned, you have to adjust, you have to tolerate, you have to bend, you have to keep quiet, you have to let go, you have to accommodate. It's a conditioning. So she's able to emerge those sanskars and become the nurturer. But now the need is that both the individuals have to be conditioned for those sanskars. Otherwise, the higher the ego goes, the lower is the EQ. And so the higher will be the stresses and the anxiety. And ego is not about feeling superior to someone. Even feeling inferior to someone is ego. Because ego is attachment to a wrong image of myself. If I feel I'm superior to someone, that's not the truth, so it's my ego. If I feel I'm lesser than someone or I'm treated lesser than someone, that is also a false image of myself, and that is also an ego. But when I remember I'm a being talking to another being, living with 4 other beings, and working with 400 more beings, it's equal. No one is above, more, or lesser than the other person. Even if the other person around you doesn't remember that they are a being and not a body, even if one person remembers that, their consciousness changes, the vibration changes. But if I look at another person and say, they don't treat me equal, then I radiate that vibration to them that you do not treat me equal. They already were not doing it, and I radiate that energy to them and allow them to be that even more. So let another person not consider me equal, it doesn't matter. But if I look at them as an equal, not an equal in the role that we play, that could be different, positions could be different, designations could be different, but I, the being, is equal to you, the being. And when I remain in that consciousness of who am I and talking to another soul, that vibration of equality which will radiate from me to the other will enable the other one to come back to the level of being equal. Vibration will always flow from one to the other. But if the other one is here, and I believe that I'm being treated like this, then ego is only increasing in both sides, not just in one. So let's stop saying it is the male ego. It is not the male ego. It is the soul ego. And that soul can be wearing any costume. These words need to be changed. It is this vocabulary which is creating more myths and more confusions. And instead of increasing that equality, we're actually widening the gap by doing that. Because we're trying to become that what we are not. Just wanting to be equal, we're trying to suppress the beautiful sanskars that we have of being a nurturer and trying to become somebody else so that society will accept me to be equal to them. Man and woman play different roles. And so they can never be equal. They will be different. They will be different. A man never has to give a birth to a child. And so even when we come to simple things like, I should be allowed to live like them, I should be allowed to do everything that they do, I should be allowed to eat and drink everything that they do, and in that name of equality, girls are allowing themselves to do and consume a lot of substances which are not going to be healthy when they are going to give birth to a child. But today, when they are in school and college, they say, we are equal, we are equal, we are equal. And so whatever they are doing, I'm also going to do the same. But tomorrow, when you are going to have a child, they are not going to have to do the same. So we have to be very careful. Respect for each soul, respect for their role, empower what they are doing, but do not believe that the being is lesser in either one. That's the only way we will be able to finish all kind of bias, not just gender bias. There can be gender bias, there can be religion bias, there can be so many biases. And all these biases finish when we remember these are just what we are doing, but we are not human doings. We are human beings. And when it comes to being a human being, we are equal. Doesn't matter. And so the need is soul empowerment and not woman empowerment. It's soul empowerment. And soul empowerment means raising our emotional quotient. Post-COVID, there was a research done in Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad and Bangalore. And the results said in the last 1 year after COVID, that's 2022, there was a 30% rise in mental health issues. There was a 40% rise in divorce rate. There was 17% rise in suicide. So who do you want to empower? The woman or the man or both? Or both. Nobody's calculating out of those 30% or 40% how many are men, how many are women. It is 30% mental health issues increased in a country which the world is saying is going to be Vishwaguru, which the world is saying is going to teach the world the ways to live, think, and to be energized. And we are talking of high anxiety rates, depression rates. And the highest figures in that are in children. Post-COVID anxiety attacks, panic attacks, very high in children. Should we blame the mother? No. Should we blame the father? No. But actually both are responsible. And both are responsible, why? Because in that race of doing better than the other, both have forgotten to energize the being. And so both are coming home every evening saying stress is normal. And so both are allowing themselves to create stress, agitation, aggression, jealousy, comparison, competition, all are low emotional quotients. And when that child is born, so first those 9 months in the womb, and then as the child is growing up, the child is surrounded by vibrations of stress and anger and anxiety. And then the child grows up emotionally weak. Who are we going to blame for this, and who's going to take responsibility? Who's going to take responsibility? We're talking about the economy 10 years from today. We're talking about where India stands from 10 years from today. Where will we stand if we are emotionally, and we're talking about high mental health issues. So the need is, while we are working on what we are doing, when we say a woman can do everything same as a man can do, a woman is excelling in what she is doing, but each one of us also needs to excel in who we are being, not just in what we are doing. We are not human doings. Let's stop talking always about the doing, and the doing, and only awarding the doing. It's also the being that needs to be awarded. Every award function, every business magazine will only endorse the doing. And so everybody wants to excel only in the doing. And it's good to excel in the doing, but not at the cost of the being. And so integrating self-care,